Welcome back, everybody. This is Wings of Wax, and we are playing Slay the Spire. So last run we had an Ironclad run that got to the heart, and we never got Entrench. And we could never outpace the amount of damage that the heart was dealing to how much block we had in our hand and were able to cast on a turn. We had a few aggressive cards, but a few cards that obviously weren't aggressive, nor were they defensive. They were just, support cards, I guess. And we ended up just dying because we, needed probably 10 to 15 more health, and I think we would have been able to maybe squeak it out. I'm not sure. But we're going to try again, see if we can start to lean more in the direction of whatever the game tells us, because you should never just solidify anything in any card game right from the get-go when you're drafting a deck. You should never force anything. You should always go with whatever the flow of whatever the game is telling you. So let's see here. We have choose a colorless card to obtain 3 random potions, obtain a curse but transform 2 cards, lose your starting relic, obtain a boss relic. I'm never going to take this one, at least for now. I have noticed, I watched I think like 1 or 2 episodes of somebody that actually that's like all their channel is about, is just like taking these random relics and seeing what direction that takes them in. But I kind of like going for like the base Ironclad stuff first and power through all the classes that way before I decide to move on to the next ones. And maybe once I finish all those, then maybe we start to go out into the direction of just, going random and seeing what the game gives us. So let's see what our map is before I make a decision here, because transforming card but obtaining a curse is okay, but we have one shop here, we have one shop here. We would like to fight some elites. This one up here is pretty decent for us to hit. We have a second elite up here. Is there any campfires in between? There is not. There's a campfire after, which means there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights that we have to fight through before we can see another campfire, or 6 fights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 fights to get through. So I think this is a death wish, honestly. I don't think you go this direction at all. I think that will kill you. Like, you have to fight through these 4 enemies here and hope that you can stay above half health by the time you get to this elite. And that's assuming that you're at, like, usually I would say when you're at elites in the beginning of the game, if you can end the fight at about half health or more, you probably did a pretty good job. But majority of these elites take you down to about half health in order to kill them. So you'd be at half health here, and maybe you only take a couple points of damage here, maybe you only take a couple points of damage here, maybe, like, it's all uncertainty. And then all of a sudden you get to here and you probably are at half health or just below it, and that makes this very dangerous. So that will kill a run ASAP. But unfortunately that's the only one that has 2 elites. I would like to hit this elite if we can potentially do it, but I don't see very many solid paths. There is a shop right here, which if we fight 1, 2, 3, unfortunately we can't get to that path from here unless we actually want to go to this shop, but then going to this shop doesn't actually do anything for us. Unless we're just looking to remove cards, which, I'm never against. I think removing cards from your deck is actually really beneficial because it makes you find better cards more often. Is it better to go for like this one? There's 2 campfires if we go this way. Let's 2 campfires. There's not too many fights before. There's only 1 fight before we get to this elite. That's actually not a terrible path. 2 campfires there. We can decide to go this way, which could lead us. Maybe we actually want to fight more of the enemies early on, because then we can actually go to the question mark, go to a shop, and be able to get to the campfire to rest up, fight 1 more, probably get some health here, and then fight this one. We probably won't need to heal up here, and then we can upgrade a card before we go on our way up to this way. I kind of like that path a little bit more, and we'll just fight a couple more minions to see what different direction we can go in. Anyways, with that being said, I still don't think that obtaining a curse here is really worth it for us to transform 2 cards. It would potentially lead us in a better direction, but I just don't like the random factor, and I think potions are actually perfectly fine. Snecko is not a potion that I like, and this one is okay. The best one is definitely the strength potion out of all those, so let's see. I mean, it didn't matter which direction. We're still going to be fighting 3 enemies regardless. So he's just going to be trying to set up for his buff for this turn for the cultist, so we're just going to try to deal as much damage as possible. I would like to set up a bash here. And I'm actually okay with taking 6 damage. I say that, and then I hesitate. This will deal 9, which makes it so we actually can kill you next turn. So I think that is reasonable enough. We just need 2 strikes to be able to kill him. Worst case scenario, we draw out like all defends, and then we're not able to kill him. But we're going to be regenerating 6 of our health back because of our burning blood. So, which path do we want to go down? True Grit is always a good card. Shockwave, though, is, you know, pretty decent, too. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Shockwave. I think it's a decent card. Heavy Blade is also good, but we just don't have any ways to take advantage of it yet. So I don't think we start taking the Heavy Blade unless we start to get some strength cards. So if I am to take anything here, it's between Shockwave and True Grit. True Grit is always a good card. Shockwave, I think, is always a good card, too. And making your opponents vulnerable and also weak for the turn is pretty fantastic. It's also 3 vulnerable, which is actually really good. That's tough. I mean, the first card we're going to be looking to upgrade anyways is our Bash. Shockwave is fine, though, without it being upgraded. True Grit is okay, too. I feel like, though, if we take Shockwave, that it doesn't, like... I mean, is there, like, a specific strategy that it follows? It could be, like... I feel like it fits into any strategy, just like True Grit here does. Yeah, or we'll take the Shockwave. Fine, you're pulling my leg. It is a rare card, or uncommon card, too, so, you know, something to note. I am okay with taking 5 damage, so I will deal damage to each of these to take their armor off. Then we have a Bash. But Bash only takes out one of these. That's perfectly fine. We have the defend for the next turn. Shockwave is obviously not good there, but it will be good. Like, we're just trying to kill these guys as quickly as possible. The Shockwave will be better against, like, elites and stuff like that, or stronger enemies. Ooh, we can get rid of the Snecko Potion, because screw that. Whirlwind is always going to be a good card. Pommel Strike is also good, too, but I do like Whirlwind quite a bit, especially early on. I think it is fantastic. Early. I will fight some more enemies here. Man Ray. Yeah, we can just prevent all the damage dealt to us this turn. Reasonable enough. I would like to defend. If I Shockwave here, he will go down to 7 attack and only hit us for 2, but does make him vulnerable for the next couple of turns. I do like that a bit more. Because we can afford to take damage. That's why we have Burning Blood. That is why we have it. You should take advantage of it. This is your subconscious talking to you now. Please use it. Yeah, and just death. Why didn't I... this is the way cooler way to kill him. Choose the cool way, obviously. Ghostly Armor's pretty good. I think Headbutt, though, is just always going to be a good card. Like, in any strategy, you're always happy to have a Headbutt. Ghostly Armor is good, though. Reckless Charge is fine. Happy Little Flowers. Do we take the Bob Ross of Flowers here? Every 3 turns we gain an extra energy. Do we take a Sapphire Key? I will not skip rewards. Holy crap. Why did I even hover my mouse over that? Red alert. Red alert. We've taken 0 damage. Holy crap. I mean, this is the beginning of the game. So it looks like we're going to be able to get 2 upgrades, which will be fantastic. I think we take Happy Little Flower here. I'm going to take you, Little Bob Ross. Okay, sure. We can remove a card. We have Meal Ticket, which is fine. It's not, like, great by any means. I also am not a big fan of Clockwork Souvenir. Like, it's okay. There's a reason why it only costs 150. This, actually, Wing Boots would have been fantastic, because basically, Wing Boots, you may ignore path choosings for the next rooms that you travel to 3 times. So, basically, when you look at a map, say, like, our trajectory is only to go up here, but the next time we would go to... we'd end a room, we'd have the option of either going here, which is our path that we currently have, but it'll also give us either this one's an option, this one is an option, or this one. Whatever one are in that row, you're allowed to go to, but that would use 1 use if you skip over the path that you were going down. And the reason why that is good is because you can choose to be able to fight more elites, or you could potentially get to more campfires, or you could potentially get to more stores, or you could potentially get to more question marks if you so choose and so desire. So that's the reason why that is good. And you get to use that 3 times, which is pretty decent. Trip is a decent card, but I don't think we actually need it since we did pick up the Shockwave, which kind of does that job right now. I think True Grit is just the best card here, but we should remove a card if we're going to be taking that. And I would like to remove a Strike since we've already taken a bunch of offensive cards. None of these really like super duper stand out to me. Like Perfected Strike is a fine card. Wild Strike is also pretty good too. I'm not really a big fan of Transmutation just because of randomness, but I can see definitely that there is some potential use out of that card too. If you had like Chemical X, which is a relic that also increases the number of any cards that have the cost of X plus 2, I could definitely see taking Transmutation. Like, you need cards, I feel like, that synergize in order to take advantage of cards like this. But, I mean, like, this is a good card by itself. It's just, it's random, so you don't know if you're going to get something that's going to help you or if it's going to hinder you, so... Yep, that's, with that being said, I don't think I want to buy anything else. We're not going to get to another shop here, so unless like the question mark obviously has a shop, but let's go upgrade a card. Is it best to go for the Bash here, Shockwave, or True Grit? Oh, actually, or the Whirlwinds, now I think about it. Since we have multiple ways to be able to vulnerable enemies, I think it actually comes down to the Whirlwind or the True Grit, now that I think about it. And Whirlwind's probably going to deal more damage to more enemies over the course of this beginning rounds because there's a lot of mobs. A lot of multiple mobs like this right here. We only drew one, one defend. Fantastic. Well... I would very much like to kill this slime before I do kill this fungal beast because he weakens us when we kill him, or makes us vulnerable rather. So I'm thinking that we target this slime here. If we get 3 strikes here, we'll be able to kill it. We did not, however, this will kill it, right? So yeah, it'll deal 12 3 times. That was a really good turn for Whirlwinds, right? I would say so. Are you a believer in the Whirlwind now? I am. I always have been. But we only really need like 1 Whirlwind, maybe 2 at most. You only really need like 2 AoEs, I feel like, in your decks. Warcry is not a bad card. Ghostly Armor is always a pretty decent card. Armaments, though, is a pretty sweet pickup, seeing as we almost never see Apotheosis. This is a great time to upgrade a Armaments, which I think will be very beneficial to us. But at the next stop, we should probably consider taking, which actually won't be until after we fight these elites, to be honest. So do we fight this elite? Because we actually have another campfire right after. Problem is this one will guarantee us to get a key. So I'm thinking like, we obviously want to upgrade True Grit or Shockwave, which are both reasonable cards. I think we get 2 birds right here. Like, if we're going to be basically using this to get a key piece, like, it's the exact same thing as us fighting here, so. It's actually slightly worse because we don't get a question mark to potentially get another relic from. Blue Candle, I'm not really a big fan of, to be completely honest with you. So I guess we take key piece. I kind of wish we went this way now. But maybe we can just pick up some early key pieces and not really have to worry about it. So we have the louse. I think it's actually louse. Louse here. So what's that? 24 damage. Hey, that was pretty good math, right? You know, basic arithmetic. Never hurt anybody. Reckless Charge is fine. Sword Boomerang is pretty good, but we don't have any ways to be able to generate strength, which is the reason why you would take this card if you were to be an aggressive deck, which we do not know if we are yet or not. Whenever a card is exhausted, you gain 3 block. We don't have any ways to really exhaust anything except for True Grit. That's really it. And I don't think... Oh, we have Shockwave too. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think that's enough to take any of this. And Reckless Charge is, you know, just Reckless Charge. 0 mana, deal 7, put a daze. It's fine. I don't think it's really necessarily worthwhile here. Golden Trap. Do we want to take some damage to take this? I think we do. So we're definitely not going to take the curse. I can say that. Taking 20 damage right here is not the worst thing. I'm supposed to be looking at the map. You fool of a took. So we have 3 combats, but most likely we won't take too much damage from this. We will definitely take damage from this elite. I can almost guarantee it. But I do think that we're at a safe enough life total where taking 20 here is not that big of a deal. Okay, this is a reasonably difficult-ish boss. I would like to use my strength potion, since we would like to kill you ASAP. And I do actually want to fight him, so I'm not going to escape this. Shockwave is pretty good. The only issue is that, like, I do realize that gives him a buff. Because whenever you cast a skill, he gets 2 permanent strength. So that will be an issue for us if we decide to go for the Shockwave. Which if I do, then maybe I should go for the Armament Shockwave, which will then give him 4 strength, which is a really big problem, to be completely honest with you. I don't advise it. I don't advise it at all. I think we go for the headbutt here. And then we listen to more ASMR because it's glorious. I'm going to stop now. So I think we should go for the headbutt and actually go for putting the bash on top of our deck so we can reapply some of this vulnerability. And we'll just take our 14 here. Oh man, why do we have extra energy? Ah, halt. Well, now we should just go for the armaments regardless, because we're going to deal more damage. I missed out on 3 damage. Yes. Missed out on 3 damage because I used that strike early on. Does this kill you? No, it does not. That is unfortunate. That is very, very unfortunate here. Gets you really close, though. But I think just setting up a bash to be able to kill you on the following turn might just be better. I mean, we're not, like, guaranteed to draw multiple strikes. So if we bash him here, he goes down to 26. And 2 bash would be what? 11 damage. So we actually need 3 bashes to kill you. So I think we actually just do go for the whirlwind and just take our beats here. Oh, it feels so bad, though. It just feels so bad. Because if we go for the bash, we go for the defend, we absorb basically 3 damage because it'll give him +2 strength, which means, yeah, that's how math works. Taking 13. I think this is just way better to guarantee that he's dead next turn. Like, we have to. It just sucks that we're taking a ton of damage on the chin there. All right. So, ooh. I decided to go for the card because obviously we can put the card into our deck, which then will lead us down the direction of we can put a skill into our opening hand, which I'm probably just going to put armaments into our opening hand, to be honest with you, but I figured we should at least check to see if we get something else that's good here, which we did. We get Shrug It Off, or we can get Disarm. Disarm is actually pretty decent against bosses. Is it better than Shrug It Off, though? I don't know. Probably. It probably saves us more HP than a Shrug It Off does. I think that's reason enough to take it here. That's tough, though. Like, this is better against bosses or enemies that obviously deal multiple points of damage, because then you can reduce more damage that's being dealt to you than a Shrug It Off would, because this stays on them for the remainder of combat. So over the longevity, the longer the game goes on, the more value you get out of Disarm. Whereas the longer the game goes on for Shrug It Off, it's only every time you cast it that you actually get that extra value. So, and they both don't like solidify me into any specific strategy here. But I do think it's worth to take one of them here. I just don't know really which one to go for. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7 aggressive cards. We have 4... We won't catch you. 5, 6 defensive cards. Because Shockwave is kind of like somewhat of aggressive and somewhat of a defensive card all in one, because it makes the opponents weak, which makes it defensive, and it makes them vulnerable, which kind of makes it aggressive too. So that's kind of why it leads into both categories. That's kind of that is the reason why I'm not counting it as either, because it would count as both technically. I don't know. I feel like I'm always going to be happy with a Shrug It Off. This might be controversial. I'm going to take a Shrug It Off here. And we get Bottle Lightning, which is going to put armaments into our hands so we can upgrade all of our beginning cards, which will be fantastic. Disarm is better, though, I feel like, in the longevity of like fighting bosses and stuff, which is probably where I should be building up the direction of this to go in. So this is going to deal 8, which is what again? 1632. Hey, there we go. I don't really want an Ancient Potion over any of these. We get a Bludgeon. Do we want a Bludgeon? I think we do. I think Bludgeon is actually a really good card. I like dealing 32 damage in one fell swing. Okay, so we are going to take damage here no matter what. I don't think we go for the Whirlwind. As much as I would like to and just deal and like justify that, we're just taking way too much damage at that point. There is no reason to go for it. I do think we should headbutt, though, and potentially put the Whirlwind on top of our deck, though. Or should we put the armaments on top of our deck to be able to boost up all of these cards? I think that is probably better. So let's go for Headbutt, put armaments on top of our deck, go for a Defendicus, go for a True Grit, and be able to get rid of one of these strikes, which I am more than happy to get rid of. We got the armaments. Wow, it's almost like I knew. Oh my goodness. Gosh, you wilgers. Let's go for... Actually, do we? Oh my god, I think we just go for the straight-on Bludgeon and just say, screw this guy. Yeah, I think we do. Like, he's not attacking this turn. Ugh, get wrecked. Which means we could have upgraded it. Oops. I was not paying attention to happy little tree, happy little flower over there. That is unfortunate. The happy flower. Man, that's a lot of damage. Like, as much as I would like to go for a bash here, I just want to try to preserve my life total if I can help it. So we're going to play it very safe. Oh my... We have extra mana. Right, I'm not even thinking. Yeah, we only cast 2 1-mana cards. Durr. So what's this? Lethal. Perfect. That's kind of what we were hoping for, was just to draw that. Gambler's Brew, is that better than the Escape? I think the Escape Potion is better. Iron Wave is not terrible because it leads us... It just gives us a card that is both aggressive and defensive in one turn. So I actually tend to like this card quite a bit, but could be wrong. I don't know. I like it. We could recall, which would give us the last key piece, and then we can just smith for the remainder of our lives. That's not a terrible choice. If I do smith anything, what do we want? Bash is not a terrible choice. Shockwave is not a terrible choice. True Grit is not a terrible choice. Even Bludgeon, you know. I feel like we got all the important cards out of the way, and if we want to try to draw Shrug It Off and Iron Wave and Bludgeon more often, then I feel like upgrading the True Grit is probably the best option. I do really like upgrading True Grit, but maybe I value that too high. I'm not sure. I just like choosing which cards to be able to do exhaust. Because sometimes you like find yourself with like a Bludgeon in your hand, but you need to be like defensive, so you put up a True Grit, but then you risk actually losing your Bludgeon. And that is, I feel like, more of the case than it is where that's more, it's way more risky for like our deck to not be able to choose which card we exhaust. And when we can choose, this card becomes like 5 times more powerful, because choosing which card gets exhausted, like more strikes and defends, so we can actually get to the bigger, better stuff. Yeah, Iron Wave is also a consideration, but I do think True Grit is probably the upgrade of choice here. I sound defeated, but I'm really not. Like, it's just a really hard choice, because they're all like really good cards to upgrade at this point in the game. Well, we did get our True Grit. Yeah, sure, let's go for that. Let's go for that. Let's go for that. Let's go for this. Perfect. Get rid of the non-upgraded card. Worth. We can bash here. Do we want to distill potion? I think if we're going to distill potion, we should do it on the next turn. And the reason being is because he's not attacking, so if we get some blocks up, it doesn't do anything for us. We're actually just wasting our the benefits that we get from it. Which I think I will distill potion, because I cannot block all of this. This is a lot of damage. But I can afford to take it too and just go for like a shockwave here and throw up like a defend, and then potentially start to deal more damage on the following turn. Shockwave, reduce it to what? Is it 25 or is it 50%? It is 25%. So like 7 damage less-ish. Which would be a 28 damage, and we could potentially block for just a defend. I'm also okay with using a potion here, just because we're probably going to get another potion at some point. And we got True Grit. True Grit is probably going to get rid of a defend. That is clearly the weakest card in our hand right now, and the weakest card to be drawn. And we could bludgeon you, which probably would send you over the edge, because you need to be at 70 HP, and this is going to deal 48. But I almost think we could do slightly better. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting greedy. Because, like, we don't mind taking some damage if we can get a better split on him. I think we can get a better split. Maybe I'm being greedy. I'm going back and forth here. We could draw slimes, though, next turn. And between the slimes and the 4 defensive cards, we might not be able to set them down to even weaker than that. So actually, I do think we go for the bludgeon then. I'm glad I actually looked at the deck to see what was left in there. If it was like a lot of strikes and stuff, I think I would have waited, but I think we made the right choice. Unfortunately, though, they're both attacking right off the get-go, which is oof. I mean, we'll just pick one. I don't think it really matters which one we go for here. We have Happy Little Tree Friend here, Happy Little Flower that's helping us out. Taking 36 damage. It's quite a lot, to be completely honest with you, to be frank. I would like to armaments, but is it better for us to just go for a bash plus strike here? I think trying to take one of these out as quickly as possible is just more beneficial to us. So we definitely have to go for a Shrug It Off. We don't have anything in our graveyard, so unfortunately, like, Headbutt doesn't really actually do anything for us. But we will Shrug It Off, see if we draw another attack card. We did, but we can't cast it this turn, so unfortunately, we can't kill both of these, or kill at least one of them. Because honestly, my plan was to try to take this one out, so we only take 5 damage, but that's not happening here. We also have reduced damage this turn, so that is something to keep in mind. So I think our split last turn was actually pretty awful for this. We could have potentially gone for a better one. That is super duper unfortunate, but we will go for the True Grit, since I don't think going for the bash here is beneficial to us. We're just going to try and prevent as much damage as possible. And that's just a matter of, like, do we go for a Headbutt and put Shrug It Off back on top of our deck? We do need to deal some damage here to try to take one of these guys out, because this is going to become a problem if we can't do that. And I will put Shrug It Off back on top of our deck. That way 2 strikes will be able to kill this. I hope you are not attacking. You are attacking. Okay, well, we have Whirlwind. You know, we have the Whirlwind. It will only deal 6, but 6 times 3 is 18, which will take out both of these, which means we can still Shrug It Off. I am more than happy to do that. Reasonable. That is actually a pretty good turn for us. We're only taking 3 damage, and we're about to get a pretty good split on this slime, I feel like. It's not worth it for us to go for the Shockwave. It's just better for us to apply more damage, because when they split, they do not carry over any of their debuffs. Ooh. We did get Iron Wave. That's pretty decent. Shockwave is not worth it here. Shrug It Off. So we could kill one with a bash. This will only heal us. We could kill off the back one, so we only take 2 damage here. I think it's actually worthwhile. Yeah, I think it's worth it. We take 2, and then this guy's probably dead next turn, because we can just need to draw 2 strikes. Or we could do it the fun way. Alright, that was a little closer than it really needed to be completely honest with you, but we get rewarded. All 3 of these are pretty decent options. I would say Juggernaut's definitely the weakest one, because it doesn't do anything the turn that you actually cast it. Takes time to set it up. Requires more of like a blockade style strategy. Or Rage is actually a really good card. The 0 mana, whenever you play an attack, you get 3 block, and if it's upgraded, you get 5 block. Rage is actually really good with Juggernaut to make a powerful combo. But we don't have that, so we're not going to even touch Juggernaut with a 39.5-foot pole. So we're looking at double tap and Fiend Fire. We don't have any ways to draw cards except for like the traditional like Shrug It Off style cards. If we had like battle trances and stuff, I would definitely say let's go for the Fiend Fire, but because we don't really have a true direction just yet, I think we actually go for the double tap. And also we don't have like an exhaust strategy or anything, so we get like no benefits outside of the fact that this is just a finisher that, you know, might occasionally just TKO somebody, but it wouldn't deal nearly as much damage or have much of an impact as say like an exhaust deck or a deck that just draws a bunch of cards. So double tap just makes a lot of sense here. Ooh, legendary. Empty Cage is pretty good. It removes 2 cards of your choice. Mark of Pain is pretty good too at the start of your turn. You gain 1 energy at the start of each turn, and so we get an extra energy from it, and we also have 2 wounds that are shuffled into our draw pile at the start of every combat. And we also have Runic Pyramid, which is also really good, but Runic Pyramid is really good only if you have extra energy, and I don't think, since we have a Bludgeon, which is a 3-mana card, a Shockwave and a Bash, which are both 2-mana cards, and we also have a Whirlwind, like, we're going to bottleneck ourselves if we end up taking the Runic Pyramid. I do think this is a really, really good relic to take, and typically I would take it, but we just don't have the energy to support it, so which means we're going to be missing out on our draw steps and being able to find fresh new things. And instead, we're going to be discarding a lot. So it comes down to either the Empty Cage or the Mark of Pain. And I'm tempted to just go for the Mark of Pain just to have like the extra energy for the rest of this run, because I think that is more worthwhile than it is to actually remove some cards at this time. Since extra energy means we can actually cast, you know, Bashes and Shockwaves and Bludgeons more often, as well as be able to get more value out of our Whirlwinds too. So, with that being said, Mark of Pain. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Only 34 minutes. Okay, not too bad. That's it's not terrible. That was a pretty good episode 1. We ended off with some pretty good stuff. I gotta say, I really like this Mark of Pain. I really like the bottled lightning to be able to help us to be able to get some armaments value out of the early game. We have Golden Idol, which we were able to snag and not die on the boss there. So I am more than happy that we are able to get away with that, to get some extra gold, which we will eventually start to try to go for more, maybe not necessarily this route, but go for more merchants and stuff like that. So, and we also need to pay attention to Happy Little Flower here, because he is the Bob Ross of all flowers and needs to help us out, which he does. I just don't notice it. And I need to notice him more, you know. I need to notice Senpai Happy Flower. All right, with that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this content and this discussion as I went through my gameplay. Hopefully you can learn some things, pick up some ways to be able to increase your win rate, basically, in your own game. Or maybe if you've never played this game, maybe it helps, you know, at least explain what's going on, so that way you can follow along and not be super lost, because it's an incredibly fun game. It is, I would say, a little expensive, $25, you know, on Steam. Sometimes you can catch it for 50% off, though, if you find it on a Steam sale for probably Black Friday-ish, I would imagine, which we're coming pretty close up to. So if you're looking for the game and you don't already have it, then you should probably take a look for it. So, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It truly does help out the channel, and it encourages me greatly to see whenever I see likes on the video, whenever I see comments, whenever I see any interaction with the video. It's a free way to support the channel, and it encourages me to want to make more content. And I love making content, so thank you so much for watching, guys. Good luck, and grind on.